Hey, what is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I is, the good doc, Dr. Mike, back again, once again, with an overdue classic video for you guys today. This is a question that was asked to me a long time ago, and I needed to really get to it, and I'm about to get to it right now, okay? But first and foremost, if this is your first time to a Dr. Mike TV video, by all means, please make sure you subscribe, make sure you notify, check out the ebooks, everything that you'll ever need in reference to the good doc, social media platforms, the whole nine, listed in the link in the description area below. I do not wish to be before you long. I'm gonna go ahead and rip this one off like a band-aid, so let's go ahead and get to it. A lot of people ask me about studying abroad in the Philippines, my experience, everything about it, my transition back into the United States and things like that. And I'm taking the time to actually answer, and give you guys the cold, hard truth about studying abroad in the Philippines. This will give you an idea whether you want to pursue it or not, or whether you think this is for you. Kind of felt like the classroom setting was more than sufficient for me to actually be able to answer a question like this one. So let me back it up just a little bit, make sure that I'm full screen, Dolby Digital surround sound. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, the experience itself. Going to college in the Philippines, absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Every experience was great. Studying in a Catholic school, because that was my first school before I moved over to the University of Mindanao, the school that I went to was San Pedro College in Davao City. Catholic school, stopped for prayer every day, had to wear the uniform. That was kind of what it was when I transitioned into my MBA in that particular university. No uniforms or anything like that. And classes for me were just on Saturdays. So classes one day a week. All the work we needed to complete was during the week. But like I said, studying in the Catholic school, it was okay. We stopped for prayer quite often. Intramurals, you get locked into the school. Intramurals, it's like a week-long program where different teams from different courses compete in certain events, basketball, things like that. And, ultimately it was okay. All right, so the experience overall, fantastic. Wouldn't trade it in for the world. Now, what I really wanted to talk about was the transition back into the United States, okay? If you were like me and prior to going to school, you didn't have any experiences or any experience working or anything like that, the transition will not be easy. If you're the type of person, okay, I want to get my master's degree or my doctorate degree to apply towards work that I already have, so basically you have something to fall back into when you finish your studies and whatnot, and you just want to come to a cheaper place to do it, Philippines is absolutely fantastic, okay? Hands down, best place for you to come, especially when it comes to quality of education, as well as how can I say this? As well as, quality, and as well as how, relatively inexpensive it is. Okay. But if you're like me and you didn't have any experience, what you choose to do with your degree will determine if studying in the Philippines is for you. All right. Transitioning back to the United States is not going to be easy. Having your credits evaluated and everything like that will be fine, but ultimately the problem that you're going to run into is accreditation. The Philippine accreditation is quite different than the United States accreditation. And the only reason it's different is because yet and still, let's say my program was business program. We followed roughly the same courses, course by course, and the whole nine. But ultimately, you got to realize they want to hire people who went to school in their schools, you understand? Such as, they want to go with people who are accredited or went to the universities in the U.S. It's easier to hire them because they're not sure if you are educated enough. I know that's not the right thing to say, but they're not sure how you were educated in the Philippines and what you did. So if you're going to do that, you need to provide a course by course evaluation so that they can see what was learned in every class and to check off to see if, okay, he did school here, okay, he took this class, okay, we have that class as well. Relatively, what they're saying in the syllabus or the syllabi is coincided with what is in the syllabi in the accreditation program in the United States. So that was kind of the main issue with the transition back into the United States. It's all about accreditation and things like that. If you have a job that you're working on or something that you're working towards and you just want to come to the Philippines to study, perfectly fine. All right, but like I said, if you're a little wet behind the ears, a little green, and you're coming here with zero experience, you're just coming for the college experience in itself, transition back into the United States may not be as easy. Especially when it comes to, oh man, I'm gonna just fall into a job when I'm done, man. Hey, it doesn't always work that way. That's the best way for me to put it. So I'm not gonna sit there and tell you it's gonna be easy if you take that particular route. But like I said, you got work, you'll be fine. Another thing that people asked me about studying in the Philippines was, like I said, the transition. How would they actually getting into the school? I'm sorry, that's what they were talking to me about. People were talking about how rough and the transition and the paperwork and all that stuff is. When it comes to dealing with the paperwork, it's not easy getting into the universities in the Philippines. A lot of people can attest to that. For me, it was relatively, how can I say this? It wasn't really difficult. So I find it shocking that a lot of people are having trouble, with the paperwork and getting into the schools. Maybe things have changed since I graduated, so maybe there's a lot more that you have to do. But ultimately, I was under a Section 9F student visa. Number one, I couldn't work at all. Wasn't allowed to work. And I think that if any of you guys are actually thinking about doing that, you'll probably fall under the same, visa status, because I'm not sure exactly what visa status you can have there unless you're on a retirement, unless you're living there, something to that effect. But the Section 9F visa was the visa that I had. So you can't work, technically. You can't really do anything but focus on school and studies alone. Is there anything else that I needed to add? I think I covered everything. I just wanted to let you know the cold hard truth basically is transitioning back into the United States may not be as easy as you think. Now, if you go to school in countries like Europe, areas like Europe, countries and stuff like that, in European Union and all that stuff, you won't have any issues. They accept that stuff. What did they say? The UK, like anywhere in Europe, Germany and places like that, to Poland, whatever, places that you're studying in those areas, perfectly fine. They'll transition well. But for some reason, the Philippines, for lack of a better term, it can be difficult. I will not say that it will be difficult, but it can definitely be difficult to find people who are willing to, evaluate it, number one. And aside from the evaluation part, I think that you have to go above and beyond the information that you provide when you're trying to get your stuff evaluated for a degree here in the United States. I found a place that did mine, but sometimes here's the problem. Again, when it comes to evaluators, you definitely have to make sure that wherever you're trying to apply for a job, again, this is if you're, just looking for something fresh out of college. Make sure the job that you are looking for, how can I say this? Make sure that you ask them where I can get my degrees accredited so that it can be accepted. You understand? Because some places use certain accreditation things. Okay, so you studied overseas, you studied abroad. Okay, to make sure that everything is accepted and you are qualified to work here. Okay, you're going to use this service. This is the service that we use. So there are different companies and places that use different services. Ultimately, if I had to be honest, go into business for yourself. Fuck working for somebody else. If I'm going to be truthful, if you got it in you, entrepreneurial spirit, such as myself, but I definitely don't mind earning a little cash on the side until whatever I'm working on is enough for me to sustain long periods of time. It's the best way for me to put it. I don't mind putting in a year or so in a brick and mortar or a place where, I just could put a little money aside while I'm trying to work on my bigger dream. So if you're like me, you do whatever you have to do to make it work, ladies and gentlemen. And I do not mean to babble or to to rush on, but I think that is all that I wanted to talk about. Any questions that you have, leave them in the comment section below. I hope that I touched on everything that I believe to be the cold hard truth about, studying abroad. It could be difficult if you want to talk about language barrier, but in the schools that I go to, they all speak English, so that's not a problem. But most of the things that you'll encounter in school would not be something that you would not encounter on a daily basis in the Philippines. Like I said, language barrier, dealing with people in general, just living the life and understanding the culture in the Philippines. It's all a part of the culture too. School is no different. School is a little bit more accommodating. I did find, and I love my schools for it, both of them that I went to, very accommodating to the foreigner. Very, very, very accommodating to the foreigner. They looked out for me, did things for me, helped me out, because they understood this wasn't my place, and they definitely made sure that they looked out. So at the end of the day, I have nothing but good things to say about my experiences studying abroad. If there's anything that I need to go in depth about as far as what classes I took or anything like that, you guys can ask me, and I could try to come up with a video that could talk about it or just give you a quick explanation in the comment section if that is necessary. Okay, I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. I think that this is my time. The good doc is officially out. At least nako, paalam, which means we're going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita. Mabuhay. Peace.